So I'm in Tucson, Arizona. Let's try and get some of that. And this isn't necessarily a city with high crime numbers, but it is a city that didn't submit their crime numbers to the FBI for 2022. So the estimates on this city are just that. They were estimates that were given for the city because they did not submit their actual numbers. So what I'm going to tell you are the numbers. We're going to take a look at the city. We're going to see if it looks like it fits the numbers, because the numbers give it a 95% violent crime, 95% worse than the national average, which puts the city right at regular city bad. And you know, Tucson is very close to the border, and you know that a lot of people are visiting without permission from the border. So there's a chance that the numbers that we have are not correct. And we should be able to tell by looking at the city if they're correct or not. Because the city should show it without us having to even look at numbers. And we're going to try and get through this light, and we didn't. And lo and behold, there is a homeless camp right there. And right there. And this guy that I didn't get on camera, look at this dude, just walking down the middle of the street. Okay, already I can tell you this is worse. There's another guy on the right I missed. I can already tell you we've been here 5 seconds, and I can already tell you this is worse than the statistics that they're giving. I don't need to hear what they say. All these buildings, that building is horrible. Look at all this here, all closed up, all of that. So I can already tell you, although the statistics I'm going to give make the city look good, I can tell you from that little bit that we just drove that those statistics are probably incorrect. And I can say that with some confidence, because if you don't submit your numbers to the FBI, there is a reason for not submitting them. Anyway, this city's got a population of 546,000, and it's rising, as are a lot of populations in Arizona, as people are moving out of places with really bad crime. They're coming here and making places like this worse. It's 46% Hispanic, 41% white, and 5% black. Average age is 34, and 19% of the people that live here are seniors, which I would expect that number to be higher because this is kind of a retirement area, but it's possible they retire and live a little further outside the city. Now we're in here. This is actually clean. We're in downtown a little more, and it's actually relatively clean here. I don't see a lot of garbage, and I don't see any homeless people. Average earnings here are $34,000, and 51% of the people that live here own their own home, which is pretty good. Over half owning their own home is better than over half renting. There's a 19.8% poverty rate, so basically 1 in every 5 people here live below the poverty level. That's kind of on the higher side. 37% marriage rate, which is a little on the low side. And 48% of the people that live here were born here, and it's showing 8% as non-citizens. So again, this is another city that's really close to the border. I would question the 8%, but that's the number we're given. Homicides in 2019, they had 40. In 2020, they had 61, giving them a murder rate of 11.1. So that's actually, again, that's a number that's like regular city bad numbers. And that's from 2021, or no, that's from 2020, because you couldn't get the 2022 numbers because they did not provide them. Okay, now we're headed more into the downtown. Where we first entered was just the outskirts of downtown. Now we're in the downtown. See what this looks like. So far it's been fairly clean, the downtown, aside from where we first pulled in and there was all the homeless people. The assault rate here is in the upper 300s to the 400 range, and Chicago is at 550, so it's better than Chicago. Again, the violent crime here is 95% worse, but we got to take that with a grain of salt, because worse than the national average. But again, we got to take it with a grain of salt because they didn't submit their numbers, so it could really be much higher than that. And it's showing year-over-year crime down 4%. But again, that's this some website that I used. They did an estimate on what they thought it was going to be, because they didn't have the 2022 crime numbers to do an actual to get an actual number on it. But the downtown is actually pretty clean looking. Which is good, and it's kind of like Phoenix was. On the outskirts of Phoenix, right, just on the outskirts of town, on the downtown, it was really bad with homeless people and stuff like that. But in town, the downtown, you would see the homeless people, but it was like they were clearing them out, and they weren't. Well, there's a guy sleeping on a bench. They would clear them out, and you didn't keep seeing the same people over and over. So they were going through downtown, but they weren't actually like sleeping there. They were just there. And the litter, one day I was there, I was in Phoenix for a few days, and the litter was bad one day, and then a couple days later there were people cleaning it up. So Phoenix is at least trying, and that's the same impression I get from this, is they're trying to keep at least the downtown looking good, even though right just on the outskirts of the downtown things aren't as good. Your odds of being a victim of a violent crime here or of any crime here is 1 in 25, which is about normal for a city. Cost of living is lower than the national average, as is much of Arizona. But the test scores here actually are better than a lot of places. They're 41% of the people that graduate are proficient at reading and math. And 41% does not sound like a good number, but it is compared to a lot of cities. Arizona average is 43%, and the US average is 48%. So being 41% of the students graduating being able to read and do math at grade level is, even though it doesn't sound good, is pretty good. And here they have 79% of their population has graduated high school. So less than 80%. So a little more than 3 out of every 4 people have graduated high school. I'm going to try and head back kind of over where that first area we were at and see if we can see what else is going on here. Although this area looks a little better. GoPro cut out again. Here we got some boarded up vacant homes. But they don't look too bad otherwise. They don't look too bad otherwise. That house is. I have no idea how I got on this road. Lots and lots and lots of garbage there. Lots of garbage here. Vacant house. Lots of garbage here. I don't know if the camera's picking up how much garbage there actually is here. It's a lot of garbage. This lady wondering why is there somebody even driving down this road. Oh my gosh, way more garbage on the other side. I'm not going to try and flip the camera. Wow, that house looks horribly bad. Thank you. Well, this is definitely a poorer area, but it doesn't look overly bad. Here's, probably missed that. Was a bunch of homeless people stuff piled there. More garbage. More garbage. There's a vacant lot for sale if anyone wants to buy it and build a house here, because it looks like a wonderful place. Yeah, just a lot of garbage over on this side of town. Sorry about the camera shifting around. Not too bad over here. I mean, some of this is run down. It just looks like a poorer side of town. Oh, here we go. Here we go with the tent city. There's tents. I'm going to go up and just drive right by that. Yep. Tent city right there. A couple of people at least living there. A lot of garbage. You know, they don't talk about that all that much when it comes to all this homelessness, the amounts of garbage. You know, all these environmental people that complain that, you know, a water bottle ends up in the ocean because somebody tosses it, it goes into one of these sewer drains or something, but they don't say anything about the, you know, hundreds of thousands of homeless people that we have living on the streets that are just leaving everything everywhere. So where do you think that goes when it rains? All their garbage goes down into those little sewer drains. And nobody seems to care about that. They don't say anything about that. But all their garbage ends up somewhere, and it's not usually in the garbage can. When you see somebody standing on the side, on the corner when you get off the freeway with their sign asking for money, there's always a pile of garbage right behind them, because the same people use the same place all the time trying to get money from people that are driving by. They don't say anything about that, and when you complain to the city, they don't do anything about cleaning it up. Trust me, I've tried. That's all boarded up on this side. But the homeless stuff everywhere is really bad. And that's everywhere. And all these cities, like this one's supposed to be a good city. And if I just saw the downtown, I would probably agree that, you know what, it looks really nice. It looks just fine. There's a tent city. I'm going to drive through that one. Because this is ridiculous what this stuff has come to. That we got all these people just living on the streets everywhere. Here's a car that somebody's probably living in. Bet you $10 someone lives in this car. Right there. I bet you somebody's living in it. They have cardboard in the window. We're gonna just go up this street and go past this, because this is everywhere now. We're just gonna drive past this. I think this is the one I saw when we first came in. You can't even get through here. You can't even get out here. Who would bring their kid to this park? I mean, you can see that guy right there. He's getting his mattress ready. These people are just kicking it like it's normal. That's the one we drove by when we first came in, I think. Oh, there's another right across the street right there. And another one right there. And looks like somebody with a backpack just past that tent. If you live like in the suburbs of any major city, and when I say any, I mean any one, pick one. Any city with a population over like 50,000. Any major city. If you live in the suburbs of one and you haven't been in downtown in a long time, make a trip downtown and drive around. And I guarantee you're going to see homeless people. I don't care what city it is. I don't care if, oh, I've been to that city. It's a really nice city. I know it's nice. That doesn't happen there. It happens there. It's happening everywhere. There isn't a place that you can go now and not see homeless people everywhere, no matter how nice the city is. Now, they might clear out an area and not let them in a certain area, like I said with downtown Phoenix and downtown Tucson looked like it was fine, but just on the outskirts there's homeless people everywhere. But if you haven't been into the downtown area of whatever major city is closest to you, make a trip there. Make a trip to a couple of them if you have a couple within, an hour drive or something. Make a trip to these places and take a look at them, because it's everywhere, and people don't think all those people right there were probably homeless that we just passed sitting in the. When you drive around the bus stop stations, all this stuff is gated off and closed up. The bus stop stations, a lot of times you see people just they're camping there, and that's just where they live, is inside those bus station like buildings that they put up. But if you haven't seen it with your own eyes and you want to see that it's really there, you go for a drive, and I guarantee you, you'll be surprised at just how many people live. It doesn't matter if you live in a place that gets cold in the winter. Everywhere. And even if you just haven't been in and you don't want to see if there's homeless people, just go in and see how dirty it looks. Go in and see how much litter is literally everywhere inside these cities. Literally everywhere. The litter is so bad. We're going to kind of blow that one. Nope, made it through. Kind of. So, but the litter is there everywhere. See, that's somebody's homeless stuff piled there. And we're kind of, now we're outside of downtown. We're still in city limits, but we're outside of downtown a little bit. But you see the litter first. Then you see someone like this sitting in a bus stop booth. And then you see a tent. Then you see another tent. And it's in every city. I've gone to a lot of cities this year, and it's literally every city has it that I've gone to that's of any size. I'm not talking if you're in some small town somewhere, but if you're in any city of any size, they're going to have this homeless problem. I mean, you can't let 10 million people into the country and keep using that same 10 million number, 8 to 10 million, for 2 years. You can't keep using that same number, one, and expecting people to believe it, and two, not having a bunch of people living on the streets everywhere, because they have to go someplace. And right now, a lot of them are living on the streets. And a lot of the people living on the streets are American citizens too, don't get me wrong, but if you haven't, just take a drive. Take a half hour if you're a half hour away, take an hour if you're an hour away, and just go see whatever the closest, nearest large city to you is, and just drive around. You'll see the litter is worse, the homelessness is worse, everything is worse. Alright, well, I'm going to cut this video short because it got pretty long. Driving through Tucson. There's a guy, looks like he's peeing on that tree, because that's probably legal now too. But I'm going to cut this short and I'll let it play out. Look, these guys, they're all homeless, carrying all their stuff around on them, walking around. And we're not even close to downtown now. We're still in Tucson city limits, but we're nowhere near downtown right now. But they're just walking. So I'll let this play out for just a little bit longer, but that was Tucson. And again, they didn't submit their crime numbers to the FBI. And there's only one reason that you wouldn't bother submitting them.